What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video, and we have some big updates on the Jude Bellingham to Liverpool transfer situation because Neil Jones gave an extended Q&A interview recently. He's a very reliable Liverpool-based journalist and he said something very interesting about Jude Bellingham. So he isn't buying the story that Liverpool are unlikely to sign Jude Bellingham made by David Ornstein. Neil Jones says that Liverpool have known all along that Bellingham would be expensive and they would face competition for his signature. Jones discussed the transfer story surrounding Bellingham, saying, "I think there is no decision that has been made by Jude Bellingham. There is no way that he has already picked his destination and we don't know. So if Jude Bellingham would have decided where he's going, then we would know that by now." This is not a new development for Liverpool. If this becomes a reason, it's an excuse rather than a reason, because I could have told you this. It comes down to where Liverpool finish the season. Finishing in the Champions League places is very important for Liverpool. It's not a deal breaker, but it's important because Liverpool would have more money to spend on transfers. As I understand it, I don't think there has been an acceptance on Liverpool's part that there is no chance to sign Bellingham. There is still very much a live opportunity and one that they will have to work hard on. But I think, personally, even if Liverpool don't finish in a Champions League place, that's literally no excuse not to sign Bellingham. Because look at Arsenal. They haven't been in the Champions League for years, for like 4 or 5 years, and they still are spending a lot of money. Actually, more money has been spent by Arsenal in the last 3 or 4 years than Liverpool spent, which doesn't make sense to me because Liverpool made 3 Champions League finals in 5 years. We have qualified for the Champions League the last 5 seasons, so Liverpool should have enough money to sign Jude Bellingham and some other players as well. Liverpool's biggest hope is that Bellingham will choose his next club by looking at only football incentives and not financial ones, because if Bellingham picks the biggest offer, the biggest wages, and also the club with the most money, of course he's not going to pick Liverpool. But Bellingham is very rational, but also is an emotional guy who respects football tradition, who respects football heritage, as Jose Mourinho famously talked about it many times in his press conferences. And he also respects Liverpool's fan base and what a great connection Bellingham could form with the Liverpool fan base. I mean, even before signing for Liverpool, Bellingham is absolutely adored by the Liverpool fans. And Liverpool, frankly, are not favourites to finish in the top 4, but I think it's very important if we do so because of future transfers. And also because Liverpool could say that we finished in the top 4, so it's a more attractive proposition. Liverpool are at the moment 5 points behind Newcastle with the same amount of games played. Liverpool are also 7 points behind Tottenham, but we have 2 games in hand on Tottenham. But those 2 games are Man City away and Chelsea away, so it's not really a foregone conclusion that Liverpool would collect 6 points there. And I think Liverpool's next 3 games will shape their season. If we lose all 3 games, then top 4 is pretty much gone, because there is no way Newcastle and Tottenham don't take advantage of Liverpool dropping more points. And Ian Doyle, who is an even more reliable and even more respected journalist, said that if Liverpool don't manage to step up Bellingham, it won't be because FSG won't provide us the money. There are too many variables at present for us to know the exact budget Liverpool can work with in the summer, and that will impact who Liverpool sign. It would be just complete guesswork at the moment. And Ian Doyle said, personally speaking, with my own view, based on nothing other than my own feelings on the matter and what I know so far, I would not be surprised if Liverpool signed Bellingham and Matheus Nunes at the very least, or somebody else. So at least 2 midfielders minimum will be coming in, but maybe even more. And remember, Liverpool are potentially losing 4 midfielders: Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, James Milner, and Arthur Melo as well, but we don't really count that because Arthur hasn't really played for Liverpool. So Ian Doyle is saying if Liverpool don't sign Bellingham, I'm pretty sure it won't be the fault of the owners. But that can only be the case if Bellingham chooses another club, not because of financial reasons, but because of other reasons. So if Real Madrid offer him the world, that he will be their most important midfielder in 2 or 3 years. But I think Bellingham would want to come home, back to the Premier League, back to England. He can always sign for Real Madrid when he is 27, 28 years old, when he is at the peak of his career. Right now he's still only 19 years old, so it wouldn't make sense for me to go to Real Madrid at 19 and come to the Premier League later. I think we would want to play in the Premier League right now and sign for Real Madrid later. Ian Doyle said Bellingham was never leaving Dortmund before this summer transfer in the anime. Ultimately, Jurgen Klopp wanted Tchouaméni last year. It didn't happen, so he looked at other areas of the team. It's worth bearing in mind, Liverpool have a longer list than usual of potential transfer targets due to the increased number of variables, where they finish in the table, the funds they have, the demand of other clubs, the impact of the World Cup. So supporters might have to keep an open mind over the coming months, which means that we might sign somebody that is not on the regular transfer list. He's not where he's not the name that player that people have been linking Liverpool with. And it would be absolutely devastating news if Bellingham chose another club. But if Liverpool don't sign Bellingham, after pretty much courting him for 1.5 years, after pretty much every journalist and even his dog have been talking about Liverpool wanting Jude Bellingham, it would be an absolutely massive disaster. Liverpool are too far into the Jude Bellingham transfer saga now for it to end badly for Liverpool. So if Bellingham moves elsewhere for whatever reason, it will still be looked at as a massive failure and a monumental PR disaster for the owners. Pretty much for 2 years, Jude Bellingham has been the primary transfer target for Liverpool. Liverpool have been waiting on Bellingham, and that's why they didn't sign another big midfielder for 2 years. So if this blows up in their face, that would be absolutely disastrous. Not just, of course, from a PR point of view, but the Liverpool players themselves want new transfers. Virgil van Dijk said multiple times that Liverpool are looking and waiting for the Liverpool players are looking and waiting for new transfers to strengthen the squad. Alisson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Mo Salah don't want to waste years of their career on Liverpool fighting for top 4, Liverpool finishing in mid-table. They want to fight for important titles and trophies, which is the Premier League and the Champions League. And Liverpool should be absolutely building a squad good enough to challenge for those trophies. There are other good midfielders out there, of course, if Liverpool miss out on Bellingham. But the drop-off in quality between signing Bellingham and signing somebody else is quite considerably high. So Liverpool have to do absolutely everything to convince Bellingham. And I mean, the owners have to throw all the money that they have, that Liverpool have, because of course they won't throw their own money at this problem. We know that they are really stingy, really greedy businessmen. But hopefully Liverpool will throw all their money at the Bellingham deal, because we just can't afford this to not go through, in my opinion. And I know I'm not the biggest fan of Sam Allardyce, and probably many of you guys watching this aren't big fans of Sam Allardyce as well, but he actually said something sensible for once. He said that he hopes Bellingham's father, Mark Bellingham, doesn't prioritize money over his son's footballing future. He said his agent will fight for a big transfer move, because whatever the figure is it's going to make him wealthy enough for his life. As long as Bellingham has got the right people behind him, then it's fine. But he said that it's actually very dangerous that Bellingham's father is his agent as well. It depends how good his dad is. The amount of parents you see with pound notes, with dollar signs in their eyes, is quite scary. But if his dad's a good, honest guy with his son, then it's amazing. what money can do. Parents deserve to look after their kids if that's what they want to do, but they are in a very difficult world here. Can the Bellingham's dad look at what's best for his son footballing wise, or is he only looking to make the biggest contract and to earn the most money for his son and for his family as well? That's a really difficult juggling act, I think, for a dad. My biggest hope for the upcoming really brutally hard fixtures is that hopefully Luis Diaz will be back and Jota will gain more match sharpness and more fitness. Until then, Jurgen Klopp said that he saw very intense sessions from Luis Diaz, a lot of change of direction, and if there is no reaction from that he can make the next step. He's not too far away. But when Luis Diaz is back, Jurgen Klopp said, he will be really good and very impactful, of course. That is clear. How quickly he comes back, we don't know yet. We have to see. That's the big challenge in these moments. There is no time for being patient, but you have to be patient after a long injury with these kind of players. You always have to wait. And Liverpool have a very tough decision to make in the summer. Which centre-back do they sell? Do they move on? Because I think we need a fresh new centre-back. The drop-off in quality behind or after Virgil van Dijk and Konate to Matip and Gomez is just too big, especially after Gomez, never rediscovered his good form after his long-term injury, and Matip has just fallen off so much this season, much like Fabinho, much like Jordan Henderson, and many other players, Trent Alexander-Arnold included as well. So I think I would move on Joe Gomez, because I think he's finished at this level. He's so hesitant and so lackluster in his defending. He's not decisive enough. He's really sometimes panics too much. He's not calm, confident anymore. Matip, I think, can rediscover his form. Of course, age is on Gomez's side. He's quite a lot younger than Matip. So there is a counter-argument to that. If you move on Joe Gomez, you have to move on Matip in 1 or 2 years as well. So maybe on the flip side, we should move on Matip and keep Gomez, give him one more season. And I think if we want to save a lot of money, we should sign Endika from Frankfurt. He's a centre-back with a good experience, good age. I think he's around 25, 26 years old. And he's a free agent in the summer. Of course, if we want to go for the biggest world-class centre-back option right now, Gvardiol would be that. But he would cost around 50, 60, maybe even 70 million pounds. And Liverpool would need that money to spend on the midfield. So if I were Liverpool, I would sign the Frankfurt centre-back on a free transfer and move on either Gomez or Matip. It is a toss of a coin. But let me know, guys, what do you think? Who should Liverpool move on? Gomez or Matip? That's a big question. And Alan Hutton, former Aston Villa and Premier League defender, said, you look at the likes of Joe Gomez, I think he's a good player, but what he is alongside Virgil van Dijk and he's fully fit and firing on all cylinders, when he's alongside Van Dijk, he's a good player, but when they try and move somebody out to bring somebody in, I think it should be possibly Joe Gomez. I think if you look at Trent, he needs a bit of competition. Calvin Ramsey went down from Aberdeen. He's still very young, but Calvin Ramsey has been injured for most of the season. I think there will be players that Liverpool will look to bring in when everybody is fit and confident. They've got a quality squad. There is no denying that. So that is where Jurgen Klopp we want to get back to. I think we need a brilliant backup, the right back as well. Somebody who is almost as good as Tsimikas, maybe even better, to really challenge Trent Alexander-Arnold, because Trent also has been too complacent for my liking, and he has been too relaxed because he knows that no matter what he does, pretty much he's guaranteed to start at right back at Liverpool, and that should never be the case. Also, a bit of positive news for Liverpool, or bad news for Man City, is that Erling Haaland is not likely to be fit for the Man City-Liverpool game. His father, Alfie Haaland, revealed that Erling Haaland is touch and go for the Man City match. He has a groin problem and he went to Barcelona to a doctor to deal with this injury. Erling Haaland had to pull out of the Norway international matches, and also This is what his dad has said to a Norway's TV station. Manchester City has a partnership with a hospital in Barcelona, so Haaland has been there for further checks and treatment. Now he has been in Marbella for a couple of days with the physio from Man City. Firstly, I'm not a doctor, and secondly, I think it's touch and go, yes. You can't just go 2 weeks without training and then jump right into a fight. There must be a progression there. They can gamble on it, but if he doesn't get proper training with the team, then he won't play. It is about how he responds to treatment in the next few days. He needs a lot of care. So Haaland has quite a serious injury, and Man City hosts Liverpool on April the 1st at lunchtime. So it's like literally the earliest game in the Premier League fixture list after the international break. So that's maybe an advantage to Liverpool. And I mean, with Haaland, Liverpool would have little chance to beat Man City at the Etihad, because Haaland is just so good. I mean, he scored, 8 goals in his past 2 games. Absolutely ridiculous. He already has 44 goals or something like that, or 42 goals throughout the whole season. And the only thing that can stop Haaland is injury, of course. And Liverpool would have a bigger chance to get something out of the Man City game if Haaland doesn't play. Of course, I don't wish injury on anybody, I have to state that. But it's also important from a Liverpool perspective that we get something out of the Man City game, because that would set us up nicely. If we get a draw against Man City and then win against Chelsea and Arsenal, that would be the platform for Liverpool to build on. But I think we need at least minimum 5 points out of these 3 games. So maybe a draw at Man City, a draw at Chelsea, and win at home against Arsenal, or maybe a draw against Man City, win at Chelsea because they are not in good form, and the draw against Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal are going for the title, so the Liverpool-Arsenal game is going to be mouth-watering. Every game is going to be so fascinating, because also this is the most fierce relegation battle in the Premier League. I mean, between Crystal Palace in 12th place and Southampton, bottom of the table, there is literally 9 teams separated by just 4 points. 4 points is nothing with 10 or 11 games to go, and 9 teams are separated by just 4 points at the bottom of the table. Absolutely crazy. Anybody could get relegated from Crystal Palace downwards. It's absolutely going to be crazy. And also, anybody can still qualify for Europe from 11th place upwards. Aston Villa are on 38 points, and they are just 4 points behind Liverpool in 6th place. And I mean, even 6th place will qualify for Europe, because Man United won the League Cup, and if a big team wins the FA Cup as well, then even 7th place qualifies for Europe in the Premier League. So it's going to be fascinating, really looking forward to it. Thanks for watching, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day, see you later, goodbye.